Hi, Eric Gibaud, Gibaud.com, and today I'm going to present you this camera lens by Digit Photo here in Metz in France. This is the Pentax K3iii Mark3 Monochrome. Okay, so with two lenses, the 16 to 50 millimeter 2.8 and also the 1.831 millimeter. Okay, I already reviewed the color version of this camera, so I'm not going to get in details again about the body of this because it's really similar. I'm going to concentrate on the fact that it is black and white monochrome, give you my opinion, what's good, what's bad, and my conclusion. Okay, so let's start. For time reason, it was better for me to test the camera, make pictures, video, all this, and record my conclusion once I would be back in Tenerife. So this is why the landscape is going to change in this video, okay? One thing that is really important, thank you so much to Fernando and to Jean-Paul Gauche, who, the same as on the Fujifilm X-S20, drove me to Luxembourg. I could test the camera there, all this. So thank you so much to them. So now let's speak about the camera. The big difference you will see is because Pentax is, and the letters here, lettering is written in gray, not as white. Yeah, white, gray, yeah, gray, okay, that's gray, okay? That's the difference you will see. This is the second time I test a monochrome camera. The first one was a Leica Q2, I'll leave the link here, but there's a massive difference. The Q2 is a mirrorless camera. When you look through the viewfinder, you see in black and white, and this is a reflex camera. If you look through the viewfinder, what you see is in color. So you need to train your brain, think in black and white, unless you would use a live view, okay? But you need to think in black and white, and maybe it's harder for some people, but it's a more classical way of using a camera, the reflex style, okay? And I think these are the big difference between the mirrorless and the reflex camera when you're using black and white sensor, okay? I'm not going to make a comparison with the Q2, okay? That's another game, another type of camera, another price, okay? But just to tell you my experience. So the feeling when you use the camera is a standard reflex camera. It's just when you see the result, whoa, surprise, it's in black and white. Well, surprise, you normally know it before buying it, okay? But this is the massive difference, okay? I think that someone who buys a camera like this wants it for photography. So I tested photography, I didn't test video part. Although it can do video, you have live view here, switch here, and you can do video, but I did not test the video part because I think that's not the philosophy of a camera like this. Maybe I'm wrong, but this is my opinion, okay? One thing that is really important, Pentax is the only one that still makes reflex camera, but when other made reflex camera, Pentax was already the only one to have IBIS with a reflex camera, image body stabilization. So that's great because Pentax hasn't changed the mount for many years, so you can still use all the lenses and have your situation, your combo stabilized. So that's a great point for Pentax. And many people ignore what Pentax does, okay? They do so many great things on their reflex cameras. Other small details you will notice, here it's written monochrome, and yeah, without this, many people may say, well, clean this because it's not white anymore, you must clean your Pentax word and the lettering here. No, that's normal. This is a monochrome version, it's written here, okay? If we speak about the ergonomy, it's not too big. Here, my finger may drop underneath, depends, okay? For me, it's not a problem. Some people, it bother them. Actually, there are many buttons all over. They prefer to use buttons and menus. I agree with that, but it takes more time to know where the buttons are, but it would also take time to go to a menu, okay? So that's nice to operate, okay? The only thing I don't like, I think I said it on the color version, is this wheel here, just on the corner. It's so easy to touch it when you go here, you want to change, here I think I was changing speed or aperture, I can't remember. And very often I was going to change here, and I touched this one, it changed my autofocus mode from single to continuous. You can assignate something different here, but yeah, I don't like it. I think I said it on the other on the color version, and this is the only point I don't like on the ergonomy, honestly. Well, I'm back in Tenerife. I wish I could be outside, but the heat wave I had in Luxembourg and France is now in Tenerife. It's horrible, so I'm in my RV. It's a lot better in the shade, okay, because it was really too hot. So I'm going to tell you my opinion about the camera. I analyzed the pictures I made there. I analyzed the sensation. I already told them in my video about the K3 color. We call it this way, okay, K3 Mark III. Okay, I'll give you the video here, okay. But I'm going to tell you what I think about this black and white sensor, the result, in my opinion, if it's worth it or not. So let's carry on. We are speaking about a monochrome sensor, monochrome camera with 25.76 megapixel, and it does only black and white. But to speak about a black and white sensor, it's important to speak about the color sensor. Although this is a new sensor, the system is exactly the same whether you have a color sensor or a black and white sensor. The sensor could be the same. The big difference is the filter that is in front of it. So what is this filter for? There are three types of filter: Bayer filter, X-trans filter for Fujifilm, Foveon for the name for Sigma, okay? But we speak about Bayer. This is what most people have. When they use a Bayer filter, they use like 4 pixels. They split them this way. 2 are for the green channel, 1 is for the blue channel, and 1 is for the red channel. And combining all this, you can make all the colors you can imagine, okay? So it means if in a picture there is no green at all, I'm actually using about half of the resolution of my sensor. Although it says it's still full, but half of it is actually being used. If I've got no blue, I waste 1/4. If I've got no red, I waste another quarter, okay? So it means that more or less, when you use this, you always lose some resolution if there are some missing colors. Some pictures you don't have all the colors, okay? In a black and white sensor, you don't have this filter. What they do is they actually capture the amount of light from pure white to pure black. It means every pixel is used for light, not for colors. It means you normally have around 30% more effective resolution in use. So this will give you more detailed picture, okay? This is a big difference. And this is why so many people are asking for black and white sensor, more information. They want to know it works, and some people already bought some. When you look at Leica, who has several cameras with black and white, now there is Pentax with this one, okay? But this is the reason some people are interested, because you will get most of the sensor when you do black and white picture. It's not the same as when you do colors. You always lose a bit or waste a bit or a lot, okay? So this is the massive difference. On this camera, they also took out the anti-aliasing filter. What does it do? Well, it actually, if you don't have it, that will give a bit more sharpness, bit more details. So you see, they really bet on details and sharpness and everything, okay? So this is why they removed it. When we work in color, we pick Adobe RGB or sRGB, except Hasselblad, that is his own system. And this is for when you're going to publish in, well, you're going to use JPEG. When you use RAW file, it doesn't matter, it's irrelevant. It doesn't use this information. You actually put the color profile you want in post-production. In this case, this is similar. You could work in JPEG or in RAW file. If you work in JPEG, you can pick if you want high contrast, hard contrast, standard or soft, so your JPEG will have a different look. If you're going to work in RAW, this is irrelevant, because you will decide in post-production when you develop the RAW how strong or soft you want the contrast, okay? That's easy, but it's nice to have this possibility for JPEG user. If you look at the ISO, when you look at the figures, you're a bit stunned. It says it goes from 200 ISO minimum to 1,600,000 ISO, which is massive. I'll show you some picture. Honestly, when you look at 1.6 million, this is a pizza. There's nonsense, a lot of dots, a lot of noise, but for some paparazzi that may be interesting, okay? But what's really interesting is that 25,600 ISO, it's really good. It means it's a lot better than any color camera. So it means you can really push the ISO when you're in low light. And Pentax has IBIS, in-body stabilization, 5.5 stops. It means if you want to do a low light black and white photography, you can really combine pushing the ISO and dropping the speed. Obviously, if the subject is not moving, obviously. But I think this is a big key feature for this camera, to be able to have such good high ISO and in-body stabilization. They say the viewfinder is new, but I don't know if it's new to this monochrome camera or new since the K3 Mark III. I don't know. The viewfinder is really good. It covers almost 100% of the picture, so that's really good. The body is a mix of magnesium. Quality is really good. The feeling is good. This is weather sealed and dust proof, and you can shoot at -10°C, so really good. It has dual SD cards, so they really bet on safety for your pictures. They already did the same thing on the K3 color, we'd call it, okay? And the weight is 820 grams. This is not light, but for reflex camera, I think this is fine, okay? That's good. The only monochrome camera I tried before was the Leica Q2, but the Q2 is a mirrorless camera. It means when you look through the viewfinder, the Q2, you see in black and white already. In this case, this is a reflex camera, so what I see is in color because it reflects on the mirror and then through the prism, and I see it, except if I activate the live view, okay? Is it a problem? Well, it depends on each person. For me, composing in color, thinking in black and white is no problem. For some people, it's easier to see directly how it will be in black and white. But sometimes they're a bit confused and they would like to have a color version without leaving the eye of the viewfinder. So I think it's not good or bad. It's a matter of taste and getting used to it. For me, no problem composing in color, having a black and white photography. Anyway, you can always go onto live view. Okay, so but I just mention it to know so you feel the difference. Okay. If we speak about the monitor, well, it's fixed. You cannot flip it. I don't even speak sideways, but put it like orientate it a bit would be good, because when you have your camera on a tripod and you go on live view, because it's easier to compose than looking through the viewfinder. If it's really sunny, it's a bit hard with the reflection to see what you're doing. So being able to move it a bit and flip it a bit this way, that would be a good plus, I think. Okay, so that would be a big help, I think. A pity. Okay, it's not a drama, but I prefer to say it. Working in black and white sensor and in color sensor is different. Okay, when you use your color sensor and you expose to the right, as you say, sometimes you just overexpose, but you actually overexpose one channel, so you do lose some details, but you can still get back with the other two channels. Okay, so you save part of the highlights. Okay, in the case of a black and white picture, that's not the way it works. If you lose details, you lose details, and that's it. That's over. There's nothing to get from any other channel. That's dead. Okay, so it's really important, if you use to expose to the right, make sure you never overexpose, because if you lose detail there will be nothing to recover, nothing. Okay, so make sure to expose exactly at it must be. Okay, don't push telling let's always get something back. Yeah, but you don't have other channel to get anything back from. Okay, so really take care with exposure with this or any black and white sensor. Okay, it's important to understand that you don't work the same way with a color raw file than with a black and white raw file. Okay, the massive difference is that, let's say I want to convert a raw file to black and white, color raw file to black and white, and I've got a really nice blue sky. I could perfectly select the blue, play with luminance to make it a lot darker, and that's it. I've darkened my sky in the black and white version. Okay, selecting the blue, that's easy. If I work with a black and white raw file, that's not possible. I cannot select the sky, the blue sky, and say, okay, let's play with luminance and make it darker. That's not possible. I will select a gray, and this gray will also be in many other parts of the picture. That means that if I change the darkness of my gray, it will affect the rest of the picture, unless I would carefully select the sky with in Photoshop and then darken it, or that would be different. Okay, so you would think then raw color file are easier to work with. Well, yes and no. You have some work to do, but the good thing about a black and white raw file, you can actually use color filter for black and white film photography. So if I want to have a really darker sky, I simply place a red filter on my lens, and straight out of the camera I will have this darker sky, and I don't have to do anything else. That's done, okay? So for people who've been doing film photography for many years, they will love this option to work the same way as before and spend less time in the computer selecting and working on it. So I think it's a different way of working, but that's the good thing with the black and white sensor. You can work in a classical way, okay? So let's speak about image quality. Honestly, I will need to make the same picture with the color version to compare if quality is better or not, or small resolution or not. That's not fair if I say it's better or it's worse. That's not fair, okay? So, but still, what I've got here is of very good quality. I had some problem with the autofocus, but it was my fault, okay? Configuration, so I had some miss out, okay? But still, the pictures that are fine, they are good, okay? So the details are there, the results are there. I liked it. One thing, it's important not to overexpose, because as I said before in highlights, if you overexpose, that's dead, that's over. It's not just this camera, any black and white camera that would exist, okay, in digital, obviously, okay? So for me, what they promise is here. So yes, if you love black and white, that's a great camera. So who is this camera for? Well, we say this is a niche market within a niche market, okay? So if you're a black and white fan and you would really love to work directly in black and white, maybe in a traditional way, using color filters, all this, that's a camera for you. If you cannot afford a Leica Q2 a monochrome or an M11 monochrome, well, that's the way to go. There's not much more option, okay? And also, if you're a Pentax user and already have lenses, that's also a great option. Obviously, you can get the body and use vintage lenses. That's many things you can put on a Pentax camera. Okay, so no much problem. Okay, but still, I think if you're a black and white fan, that's a great camera. If you're a Pentax user, you already have some lenses. Well, that's a no-brainer if you want black and white. Okay, as a second body or just one body, if you only do black and white, yeah, that's fine. If you already do color and do very often black and white, that could be great as a second body. So for me, what they promise is here. Honestly, the results are good. So I think, yeah, it's a completely recommendable camera. If you're interested in it, I'll leave you links in the description on where you can buy it. So thank you so much, Pentax France, for letting me the camera. Thank you to Digit Photo, actually organized with them so I could have it. So thank you so much to both of you. Thank you to you for watching the video. If you feel it may interest other people, please share it on social networks. If you have not done it yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Small button down here is a small bell. If you click on the bell, get notified when I upload a new video. My website, Gibaud.com. If you have any question, can leave a comment below. Also leave you links of my gear on Amazon, links of everything I reviewed by K&F Concept, Sandmarc and Flashes by Westcott, more affiliated links, and also a link to my PayPal account in case you wanted to make a donation. Thank you very much for watching. Please take care of yourself and see you soon. Bye.